There was a huge oak tree in my grandma's backyard when I was about 6 or 7. It's been cut down since. Where I lived, it wasn't uncommon for someone to have oak trees somewhere in their yard, but this tree, it was stripped of its bark, making it a gray-ash color. There were no leaves, and never once did I see any when I visited. I hated going in the back to play by myself. The branches always seemed to be looming over me, seeming to be dark, even on a bright and sunny day. One day, when I got bored and decided to go outside to play, I decided to swing on the tire attached to the rope, hanging on one of the branches. It was innocent enough. My grandmother was inside washing the dishes, but she could see me through the window, as it had a direct view of the entire backyard. I sat down and slowly started to swing. The branches croaked and squeaked each time I went back and forth. It sounded like it would break at any moment, but it was actually pretty sturdy. I'd used it before. Suddenly, I got a creepy feeling, like something was watching me from above. I was too scared to look up. I looked through the window to see if my grandmother was still there, but when I looked at her, she was looking above me, a terrified look on her face, her hand covering her mouth. It felt like the sun suddenly vanished and a misty fog rolled in around me. When did that get there? I couldn't move. My fight or flight had me at option 3, frozen. I started hearing a creaking sound on the branch above me, like something was swinging back and forth slowly. It wasn't me. I hadn't moved within the last 2 minutes. I almost started to cry when my grandmother finally came rushing outside and over to me, quickly moving me. She shielded me from seeing what was on the tree. Nothing was said when we got inside, though I think she didn't want to freak me out more than I already was. My grandmother moved from that house a few months later after cutting the tree down. She didn't want me to come over after that, but now that she's in her new home, she lets me come over whenever I want. A few years later, when I remembered the incident, I asked her what happened. She sighed. I had a feeling she still didn't want to tell me, and answered with the most terrifying answer anyone could think of. There was a woman hanging from her neck. It was all twisted and the bone protruded through her skin. But she wasn't dead. She had a look of death in her eyes, and she was fixated on you, struggling to reach you. When I got to you, she started choking on her own blood. After hearing that, I was glad she had shielded me from seeing that. I'm happy that I never went back there, and I'm happy the tree was cut down so no other child has to experience what I went through. I did some research and found out that a couple who had lived in this house before, the husband beat and killed his wife, snapped her neck, and hung her on the tree to make it look like suicide. It seems he wasn't in his right mind.